Well, happy Saturday, everybody. Good morning, Emma. I think you're the only one so far. People are moving slow this morning. Uh, but we're going to be showcasing this great machine that's going to be heading to Texas today. And this particular one belongs to Alberto. And Alberto, again, is the retired school teacher. And I think he also worked for the government as well, he told me. So he's retired from school teaching and also from working for the local government or such. And he had gotten one of these previously. And then he ended up showing it to his sister. Big mistake. And she right away fell in love with just the sheer beauty but masculinity of a machine like this. It's such a sturdy, strong machine, and yet it's able to sew embroidery stitches that you would expect to find on a Bernina or something like that. So it really is it's just an incredibly versatile machine, also very, very strong. So we're going to see all that today during the live premiere. They're getting their coffee ready. Yeah, they probably are. So I'm going to set the machine up for sewing to get us going here. And if you could see this makeshift thing that I have set up to allow this camera position, you'd be like, holy mackerel. But we first of all have to set the needle. And we're going to be sewing today with a Schmetz Universal size 90-14. Hopefully you can see that in the shot. I think you can. Size 90-14. So this should allow us to sew a wide field of materials. So when you set the needle on this machine, you set the flat side to the rear, okay? Flat side to the rear. And before I thread it up, I thought I would, on that other live stream, I showed you kind of the mechanics of the machine, but I thought I would show that to you again, just because if someone missed it or hasn't had a chance to check that out yet, you'll definitely want to check it out. The mechanics of this machine, it's an all mechanical machine, is just absolutely off the hook as far as how sophisticated the engineering is. I'm going to turn down our ambient music a little bit. We'll get closer to the machine and then we'll kind of get this set up the rest of the way. So just a quick walk around the machine here. This is going to be our stitch length control over here. And when you move it to the top, you're going to be sewing at the largest stitch possible, which is going to be right around 5 stitches per inch, a little bit better than what a Singer can generally do. Singers are going to be around 6 stitches to 30 stitches per inch. This will go all the way down to 30 as well when you get down into the satin range down here. And then if you want to sew in reverse, you just bring it all the way down to the bottom like this. I got to watch the angle of my camera here. So reverse is all the way down, largest stitch all the way to the top, etc. When we're doing the stitches that you picked today, again, if you didn't notice in the chat, I've got the link posted right here. And if you click that link, it's going to take you to a video I posted, I think about 5 or 6 years ago. And it's going to show you all the stitch settings for this 130-6. And you'll be able to pick the stitches, and the moderators will help highlight for me what stitches you're picking, because I won't be looking at the chat continuously in case I miss one. But definitely check those out, and you can scroll forward or back to look at the full scope. I've got another video on the channel as well that shows all of the twin needle sewing stitching as well. So this control center right here on the machine is going to allow you, when it's not engaged with the embroidery kit on the back, it's going to allow you to choose needle position, And it's also going to allow you to choose stitch width as well. So it controls both. This also will allow you to manipulate needle position, and we'll be using this as setting C when we do our setup for the different embroidery stitches today. We only have to set 3 points on this machine, which is different than the PFAFF 332, 338, and what's the other model? I'm totally blanking on it. But at any rate, there's 3 different models that share the same stitch setup. This one only requires 3 settings. We set point A on the back, point B, and then lastly we set point C, which is this needle position right here. When it's all the way at the top position, we're going to have a right needle position. The needle will be as far to the right as possible. You can kind of see that in the shot. When we move it to position 2, which is down 1, we then have a center needle position. See that there? And then when we move it all the way down, it's going to give us a far right needle position. So this is one of the controls that we'll have to set when we select our stitches today. This device right here is for setting boundaries when you're doing buttonholes, which I won't be demonstrating today, but it's a real helpful thing as far as setting, so you can set the margins of it basically. Obviously our upper tension here, and this is a real cool device here, unique to the PFAFF 130 series. This right here will allow you to fine-tune the tension depending on the type of materials that you're sewing. If you're sewing something incredibly light, you're going to move this all the way to the top towards the arrow that has the L. I think that's an L. Yeah. And then if you're sewing normal type materials, medium grade type materials, you move it down to the middle position. And then finally, if you're sewing super heavy duty stuff, you push it all the way to that position right there. And what it does is it controls the tension on that take-up spring. Controls the tension on that take-up spring. So I'm going to move it back to probably right around in the medium range, right around there. But again, this is a real helpful tool to have. It allows you to maintain a static upper tension setting and then fine tune it with this control right here. Again, all the way at the top is incredibly light type sewing, satins, silks, probably some cottons as well. Move it to the middle range for general sewing, and then finally move it all the way down for heavy duty sewing. I don't know if we'll try this with the leather today because I've already got it balanced very well for leather, but we might give it a go. But for right now, we'll set it right around there. What else can I show you? Obviously, right up here, we've got our presser foot pressure. Again, on the back, we've got our embroidery kit. The embroidery kit is, if you've not seen this before, it's an add-on to the Model 130. This was not part of the original setup for this machine. This machine came out in the 1920s as a zigzag-only machine, the 130. And then they modified it a little bit. As you can see, they made it across the pillar wider right up here. And that's because they added dual cleated belts to the 130-6. The 130 has a single cleated belt. The 130-6, if I can tilt it back a little bit and show you, has dual cleated belts. You can see that down there. So this really is a machine that, I mean, it is a favorite among tailors, among upholsterers, leather workers, and everyone else that wants a machine that's incredibly capable to sew through the heavy grade type materials. When you're setting up, I'm just going to set the camera down for a second. When you're setting this machine up to sew, the easiest way to set up the bobbin carrier is to hold the bobbin carrier in your right hand and the bobbin in your left. Let me find my little slat here. There it is. So kind of line it up like this. So you have the slat right here on the bobbin carrier, the bobbin in your left hand with the thread coming over the top. And then you're going to slide the bobbin in, draw the thread through that slat right there, and then make sure you draw it all the way so that it comes underneath that tension spring. Otherwise, you're not going to have anything to brag about as far as your top stitching. Because again, this is going to control your top stitching. Okay? So that's all we did. We just brought it through there. And then when it's unwinding, you're going to notice that it's turning counterclockwise. Just think of this in a backwards sense. And if you look at the rear of it, you can see the way that it's turning there. Okay? And then you just snap it in. This is your little door to open it right here. You just go ahead and snap it in. I already have a carrier in there. I just wanted to show you how to set this up for sewing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this apart. This is our backup bobbin because we're going to be doing quite a bit of stitching during this premiere, assuming how many stitches are selected by you, and we might need this second bobbin. There comes one of those awful little fruit flies there. So let's go back to the machine. Let me show you the mechanics of this machine again if you missed it on an earlier premiere. And I'll also just rev it up a little bit so you can listen to the power of that 1.3 amp motor. And unlike some of the PFAFFs that are out there that have replacement motors, this has an original PFAFF motor. And I know that noise reduction thing that YouTube has is going to end up cutting this. Well, we'll just give it a little bit of gas so you can listen to it run. And again, I didn't point it out, but obviously for bobbin winding, this is your bobbin assembly. You can set up your spool of thread for winding a bobbin right here. The book shows a different setup where you're coming right off the front of it with the thread and coming right down to this tensioner and then straight up to the bobbin. I actually recommend a different way than what the book does. I recommend going from here over to here. You kind of come underneath this thread guide, come like this, underneath it, over this tensioner, across the front of the machine, down to this tensioner, and then up to the bobbin winder right here. And then once you get the bobbin on, just push this to engage it. And then once it gets to a certain fill point, it's going to automatically disengage. If it doesn't, just push this up to disengage it so that's not dragging on the machine any longer. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and lock that clutch again. Hold on just a second. Before we jump into this, I just want to show you the mechanics of this machine again. I think it's a fascinating engineering marvel. It really is. Just make sure I don't get my camera cord caught in anything. So this is, again, the back of the embroidery kit. I think you can see that. Yeah, right here. The back of the embroidery kit. It opens just like this. You just put your thumb in here, pop the door open. Don't pop it too much. And you can see the setup that they have in here. This is one of the earliest versions of a cam stack right here that PFAFF came out with. And you can see there's spring tensioners that allow this lever, A, to actuate the different settings within this cam stack. But it really is an engineering marvel. You might be saying, okay, it's all well and good, but how do we turn the sucker on? Let me show you. So to turn the cam stack function on, you've got to, first of all, pull this little pin out right here, this little pin setting, and you allow it to go in. Because what it's going to do then is it's going to connect with this track right here. And if I manually just turn that control right here, you're going to see that pin pop into that track. Now it's in the track. You can tell that because when I manipulate this control now, now if you say, well, I really didn't mean to do that, then just pull it back out, put it back in its little notch, and then it's back to regular non-cam generated sewing again. But I do want to show you the function of this, so I'm going to let it go out, let it snap in. There we go. The other thing we have to do is, if we're actually going to use it, we've got to turn Control B on as well. And we're going to be turning it somewhere between 1 and 3. This is one of the settings you'll have to give me today when you pick the stitch of your choice. It'll be 1, 2, or 3. So we're just going to move it into 1 just for the sake of trying it. And then as you give me the different stitches, I'll be changing cam A, or excuse me, setting A, to choose the setting appropriate. Right now it's on 3. If you push it to the side, it's on 4 now, 5, 6, and back to 1 again. So these are the only settings we'll do: A, B, and then finally C, like I showed you before, the needle position. But let me show you this when it's running. I think it's fascinating. I'm going to point it at the back of the machine and step on the foot controller, and you'll be able to see this, the mechanics of this working, which I think is just really super cool. Once I get my foot controller where I can push on it. Again, as you change the settings, the action will change on this quite a bit. If any of you have worked on cars before, this piece right over here, see if I can hold the camera with the other hand, this piece right over here, hold on a second, right down here, acts almost like a tensioner on the system, very much like a tensioner on a car. Okay, let me close this door. Set the camera back over here, and we'll finish setting up the machine for sewing. Go ahead and shut this off too. And if you joined us a little bit late, you're going to need to know that I've set up What did you type, Emma? Emma's typing something in German. Wo kommen Sie von? Where are you from? We have somebody from Germany, huh? Wonderful. All right, super. So at any rate, when you set this up again for sewing, make sure you set the flat side of the needle to the rear. And again, like I already showed you, when you're setting up the bobbin case, and I'm just revisiting this in case you arrived a little bit late. When you're setting up the bobbin case, hold the bobbin case in your right hand, the bobbin in your left, and make sure the thread is coming over the top. So when this is unwinding, it's going to be turning counterclockwise, okay? And then again, just make sure you draw this all the way underneath that spring, like so. You'll hear it click. And again, the ideal tension as far as ounces on a bobbin case is going to be right around 3 ounces. So it's not very heavy at all. It's actually quite light. So if you ever set up your bobbin case on any machine and you pull this and it seems like it's incredibly hard to pull, you're going to have to back it off. And on this bobbin carrier, this screw, this screw on the right is going to be your adjustment screw. If you turn it clockwise, you're going to increase it, which if it's really hard to pull it, you don't want to do that. You'll want to turn this counterclockwise. And this other screw on the left is just your set screw. It holds this tension band on the bobbin carrier. Okay? What else did I want to show you? Oh, I can also show you real quick how to wind a bobbin if that's helpful. Might be helpful if you want to sew, right? So again, my recommendation, if you're winding a bobbin with this machine, the book will tell you that you simply go from here straight off the front of the machine to this tensioner and then up to the bobbin. I'd recommend that you actually go almost as if you're threading the machine. You're going to come underneath this thread guide right here. And then you bring the thread over the top. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Bring the thread over the top of this tensioner. See that? And then come across the front of the machine down to your tensioner down here. And you go right between these discs and then take it straight up to the bobbin winder. This I'll do with two hands. It's so easy to do when you're not on camera, you know what I mean? And then you'll notice on the bobbins themselves that are original to the PFAFF machine, you've got a little notch right there. And you'll want to put that facing in so it can meet up with a little pin on there. Bring this up to the top then, and give it a couple wraps around the bobbin itself. Then we're going to engage the bobbin winding by just pushing this in. And it feels like my clutch is engaged right now. Disengage your clutch as well by rotating the stop action towards you. And then just hold on to this thread here and we'll initiate the bobbin winding. And once I get it going, I'll see if I can bring the camera over just so you can watch it wind. And again, if you ever are battling a machine where you're trying to wind a bobbin and as the thread is going on, it's not going on evenly, this is the piece right here that you want to adjust. They give you a screw with a capacity to slide it for a reason. And if you're winding the bobbin and say the thread is winding up primarily on the left, then you need to slide this to the right. If you're getting a heavier concentration of thread on the right, then you need to slide this, loosen this bolt, and slide this to the left. So just think of it as the opposite to even out the thread nicely on there. All right, let's get this going. And usually after I get it going a bit, I'll give it a clip just so that that thread isn't sticking out. And you might want to keep a hand on this. This thing gets kind of happy up there. It's spinning, so. You can see again how we have it set right now. When this originally was set up, they had it offset quite a bit to the left, and I was getting a heavy concentration of thread on the left side, so I just adjusted it accordingly. There we go. And we're not going to use this bobbin right now, but I just thought I'd wind it just to show you. Disengage, pull your bobbin off, give your thread a clip, And I'll send this with, and that way, this is a great harvest color for our friend Alberto to have, and his sister might decide to use this color as well. All right, let's thread the machine now. I've already got the needle set. Set our thread up here. We're going to come underneath that same thread guide that I showed you before, over the top of the tensioner. Kind of hold on to the top thread so you can pull it down a little bit, get it in there nice and tight. Make sure your pressure foot lever is in the up position so there's no tension on the discs. And then you just draw that thread through the discs. And again, you kind of hold this and get it in there nice and snug. Come around, and then you're going to go right between the take-up spring. You can see that in the shot. Come underneath this thread guide. This one right here. Slide the thread behind this thread guide here. Make sure your take-up arm is at the highest position. Going to thread it through the eyelet there. We've got a thread guide on the faceplate that we have to go through. We've got another thread guide right down here just above the needle. And we've got to also go through that one. And then our thread will be nicely centered right in the middle of there. Okay, you see the setup? So we go from here, underneath here, over this, down around the tension discs. Again, make sure your pressure foot lever is up, around the bottom, over and between the take-up spring, underneath this thread guide, behind this thread guide here, up through the take-up arm, down across the faceplate through this thread guide, another thread guide down here just above the needle. And then finally, we're going to be threading this from front to back. I'll put on my magnifiers to do that just because it makes it easier. Makes it easier to see that tiny little hole on that needle, even though it's not that tiny. And our thread is already up from the bobbin. Otherwise, what we would do is we would hold onto the thread that we just brought through the needle, and we would rotate the balance wheel towards us and pull that thread up from the raceway area. But we don't have to do that because it's already done. Okay, so we're all set up for sewing now. And has anyone picked a stitch that they want to do yet? Again, the link you can go to, I think it's still saved on here. Oh, let's see here. If you follow this link, that I just posted, it'll take you to a video that I shot a number of years ago that'll show you how to set the 3 settings on this machine. So what did Emma pick one? 5, is that 531? 531, I think it is. Okay. I might change this. Well, you can see this pretty well from here. I was going to say, otherwise I can change the camera shot and put it on the side so you can watch it sewing, but I think you can see it pretty well from here. So what do we have to do now to get this thing to be able to sew the stitch that Emma picked out, the 531? First of all, we have to engage the cam function. We pull this out and allow it to go into that track. And then on the back of the machine, we've got to move this from 1 over to 5. And then I think she said this one is 3. So we're going to move this from 0, because right now that it won't actuate the cam function when it's on 0. So we got to move it all the way over to 3. Okay. So 5, 3, and then I think the last one was 1, which means it's going to give us a far left needle position. And we're already in that position. Again, you just kind of push this in, and you can move this up and down accordingly. But again, at the very highest position is going to be 1. So we've now set everything 5, 3, 1. The only other thing we have to adjust is the stitch length. So I'm going to move the stitch length way, way down, almost just a hair above the line of where the 0 is. Okay, there we go. I think I've got it pretty much set. All right, so let's sew this stitch that Emma picked out. And I'll stop the music for a second so we can listen to the machine operating. All right, 5, 3, 1. Here we go. Oh, that's a pretty one. I like that, Emma. I like that one a lot. Let me clip the threads and then we'll take a look at this stitch that Emma picked out. Hopefully you can see that in the shot. That's quite spectacular, isn't it? And again, take into account that this machine is all mechanical. It's not using a fancy computer board or something of that nature to generate this stitching. We'll take a look at the lock stitch as well. And you can see we've got a perfect balance right now between the two. Lovely stitch. Good choice, Emma. All right, what's our next stitch? Does someone want to pick out another stitch? Does that say, I'm trying to read it here. Does that say 611, right? 611? We'll look at that stitching again. That's our first stitch. Okay, so let's set it up for the next one. I think Emma had 611. So this is our control A. And right now you can see we're on 5. We've got to push it once to the left to get us up to 6. And then we've got to move our control B from 3, where it is right now, over to 1. So 6, 1, and this one is already on 1. This again is going to be our needle position. For this machine, unlike the 332 and a couple of the other PFAFF models that will also do embroidery stitching, you've got to set 4 points. On this machine, you only have to set 3, A, B, and then finally C. You don't do a thing with this control because the cam embroidery kit is going to be manipulating this when we're stitching, okay? So we're all set to sew this next one that Emma picked out. And as always, make sure your take-up arm is at the highest position when you launch. And again, if you joined us a little bit late, we've got obviously our upper tension already set. You can see and this is one of those tensioners that you can turn and turn and turn and turn and turn. So it's not a restrictive type tensioner where you can only turn it so far. You hit the max and then you turn it back the other way. This one you can go around and around and around and around. So the fact that you can see that I'm right around 5, that doesn't help us a whole lot. But this is a fine tuner that I showed earlier in the live stream. For this one right here, if you're sewing incredibly light stuff, you can push this all the way up like so. If you're doing average type sewing, kind of like we are right now, you can move this down to the mid-range. And then if we're doing like heavy, heavy, heavy sewing, some super crazy leather, you can push this all the way to about the 6 o'clock position. So just think of it like this. If you're doing super heavy duty with this model, you move it to the 6 o'clock position potentially. If you're doing moderate type sewing, you can move it to about the 3 o'clock position. Actually, it wouldn't be 3 o'clock. It'd be about 5 o'clock, wouldn't it? Yeah, right around near the 5. And then if you're doing lightweight, you can go all the way up there to about the 3 o'clock position. So 3, and you can go anywhere in between too, 5, and then all the way down to the 6 o'clock position. Super heavy duty, moderate sewing, super lightweight sewing there. Okay, so I'll put it back where we had it, right around there. That should be good for our purposes. All right, a little bit of sewing music because you've had a chance to hear the machine operate several times. I'll just turn it down a bit. All right, let's do this next stitch that Emma picked out. This one again is going to be 611 as far as the settings. So our control A is on 6, our control B is on 1, and our needle position is in position 1 as well. Again, if you're new to the PFAFF machines, when you push this all the way up, it's going to be in position 1 with a right needle position. When you move it to the middle position, you're going to be centered on the needle. And then when you push it all the way down, you're going to have a far left needle position. Okay? Yeah, just double checking. All right, here we go. Let's give this a go. Oh, that's a fun one. Isn't that fun? We could have even gone a little bit shorter on the stitch length, but that's still a neat one. Isn't that cool? Good choice, Emma. I like that. Let's get some other folks picking out stitches. Again, if you want to be able to pick out a stitch, just click on this link that I just posted there, and you'll be able to see all the stitch options for this machine for single needle sewing. I got another video posted as well that shows dual needle sewing settings as well. All right, so this is the second stitch that we just did, the one on the top row. And you can see as you're sewing a pattern, if you kind of stop in the middle, you don't finish that pattern sequence. But it's lovely, isn't it? Isn't that a beautiful? Both of these stitches that Emma picked out are just fabulous. Turn it over and look at the lock stitch. Equally spectacular. Definitely a solid page 34 on both of these stitches. All right, what's our next stitch? What are you guys going to pick out next? Any other stitch selections? Anybody got anything? Is Emma going to be the only one that picks stitches for us? Come on, you guys. Follow that link that I just posted, and you can see all the stitch options that this machine has. So it looks like the next one that's been posted is by Emma again. Emma is like our dominant stitch selector, but you guys can pick one as well. I think that'd be super cool. So we're going to try 513 now. 513, okay? So we look at our control A first. And you can see right now we're on 6. So we've got to go back to 5. 513 is what we're aiming for. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our control B is already on 1, so we don't need to do a thing with that. It's already on 1. Then finally we have to go to this control C, and right now we're in position 1. We have to go all the way to the bottom to position 3. So you push it in. See how that goes in? Push it in and slide this down. And again, when you put it all the way down into position 3 like we just did, you can see that it pushes that needle all the way to the right. The needle's all the way to the right now. There we go. Okay, so let's do this next sew off. 513 is what our setting is. So again, just kind of make sure your tails are back. Take up arm all the way up. And we'll execute this next embroidery stitch using Alberto's model 130-6. Again, when this model came out in the 20s, it was the first zigzag machine out there, really. And all it could do was zigzag. And then they added this super cool kit to the back of it. So let's see what this stitch looks like. Here we go. Now, that's an interesting one. It's kind of a version of the other one, but it's a little bit more stretched out, isn't it? Interesting. So all 3 stitches we've done so far have been picked by Emma. I hope someone else will jump into this. It's a great opportunity to try something new, right? So here the other thing I noticed about this one too that Emma picked out is it's basically a mirror image. See how these are pointing up, and then you could basically, if you did this stitch, there's a mirror image of it. You could do them facing each other like as a border accent or something like that. They really are spectacular, aren't they? Get really close there. Lock stitch. Very impressed. Beautiful. All right, let's move on to our next one. Is anyone else going to pick a stitch, or is Emma going to be our stitch selector for today? Here's the link again if you want to look and pick out a stitch. All I need is the 3 settings for the stitch. And again, that's a YouTube video that I posted, I think 5 years ago, 6 years ago, or something like that. And the way I generated that video is I had to take still shots of a stitch card for this machine, a photograph of every single stitch setting, and then put it all together in a video format. So it's been a real good resource to folks. And then I've got another one on the channel that covers the dual needle settings for this machine as well. So go ahead and pick out a stitch. What's our next stitch? Any takers? Otherwise, I'm going to start grabbing some stitch options too. Matter of fact, I might do that right now.
Thanks to Realtor.com's home alerts.
No, it's commercial.
Condo fast. We moved it so quickly.
There we go. So this is what you're going to find if you follow that link. And I don't have the, let me see where the screen is lined up. Yeah, it's not horribly helpful, is it? That's what you're going to see right there. That's a fun one, isn't it? I'm going to pause it right there. I'm going to pick the next one. So I'm going to pick 432. And we'll be trying to generate a stitch like this. And you can do the same thing. Just go to that link that I posted, and then you can scroll through here and pick any stitch you want, and I'll sew it on Alberto's machine for you. Okay? So let's go back to there. What did I say? 431, right? Yep, 432. All right. So let's set that up right now. 432. Oops, I didn't go far enough. There we go. 4. Move this over to 3. And I think it was 2, right? 2 will give us a center needle position. So right now, we go all the way to the top. That's kind of the way I do it, so I can find my way a little bit easier. Right now, we're in position 1. We need to come down 1 position to position 2. And that's the trickiest one to find, to be honest with you, because you can't tell if you're quite set in there. But that should be position 2 right now, which should give us a center needle position. Okay. All right, let's sew this stitch now that I just picked. 4, 3, and 2. 4, 3, 2. All right, so take up arm at the highest position, and we'll stitch off this next one now. Here we go. And I'm going to slow it way down so I can grab the camera and just show you the action of these. Oops, I went off course. Trying to do too much here. That stitch line will be a little bit crooked because I was looking up and I went off course, but that's okay. Yeah, I better stick to just letting the camera be in a static position because that's a little bit too much coordination for me, even though I've had my coffee. All right. Oh, I like this stitch a lot. This is cool. It's super cool. So again, it's going to be a little bit wavy because I went off course, but oh well. So that bottom row is the one that I just did. And I guess I could actually hold it like this, couldn't I? You can see it that way too. Amazing the versatility of this machine. Lock stitch, absolutely spot on. So you can imagine when this machine was adapted from being zigzag only and they came out with this embroidery kit, you can imagine how enthralled people were with the capabilities of what their Model 130-6 could do then. I mean, it was just revolutionary. It was revolutionary, almost as revolutionary in many respects as when Singer came out with their Singer automatic zigzagger. When they came out with their automatic zigzagger, and then all of a sudden people were able to take a featherweight or a 1591 or any straight stitch lock machine that Singer came out with and be able to do all of these decorative stitches using a straight stitch only machine. It was the same wonder when PFAFF came out with this embroidery kit that they could simply mount to the rear of your existing machine. You didn't have to buy a new machine. You could take your existing machine, put this embroidery kit on the machine, and all of a sudden it opened up a world of options to you, an absolute world of options. I love innovation, don't you? I don't like having to go through the change and the birthing pains of that, but it's super cool nonetheless. Okay, it looks like Emma picked 222. So we're going to do 222 next. Let's set it up for that. So Control A. Right now we're on 4. We're going to change it to 2. Now we're on 2. We've got to move Control B to 2. And this one is already in position 2, Control C, which is our needle position, because that's where we had it on the last stitch off. So we don't need to do a thing with Control C. Okay, so let's stitch this one off. Again, any of you that are in this live chat can post those 3 numbers once you go to that link. Just above Emma's last post is where that link is, but I'll post it again. You just go and follow that link, and then it's going to give you the option to look at that video that I posted and pick out your stitch that you want me to do on this live stream today, okay? All right, let's do Emma's now. And this time I'll be a good boy and focus just on stitching it. I won't focus on trying to show you the mechanics and the stuff moving and all that. Although I think it's super cool. I think it's super duper cool. All right, here we go. Take up arm at the highest position. And this is Emma's stitch 222. Here we go. Oh, this is one of those that makes that clicking sound. I can't help myself. I got to show you. Let me slow it way down. All right, I better stop there. Oh, I forget what this is called. Is this called an arrowhead? I'll show you, and then you guys can let me know what you call it. Again, I'm not opposed to making up our own stitch names. I think it's fun. And when I interviewed Alex Askroff from England, he said he does the same thing. It kind of irritates his wife, Yana, but he does it anyway. And he does that with flowers too. So this is the one on top that we just did. There we go. Got it lined up a bit now. Lock stitch, no difference. Arrowhead Christmas tree. Okay, brilliant. What's our next stitch going to be? What are you guys going to pick out? I know we don't have a lot of people on the live stream right now, but feel free to go to that link and pick out a stitch that you'd like to see me sew on this live premiere. I decided to do it like this so that you could be even more involved in helping to pick what we sew. So I'm hoping that more folks will jump in and follow that link that I posted several times. Pick out a stitch that you want to see me sew, because it's obviously a lot easier for me to pre-select them and to just shoot a regular premiere. But I don't want to do that. I want to involve you guys in these live streams. So pick out a fun stitch, follow that link, and if I don't see one posted shortly, I'm going to pick out my own again because I'm a rebel. Let's see here. That's an interesting one. And again, you don't have to play through the video. You can just kind of drag that over and look at them. 511 is interesting, but I'm going to keep on going. That's kind of a cool one. 512. Oh, I went too far. 523. 523 is the next one. 523. Okay, so I'm going to type, or I'm going to sew rather, 523 next. 523. 523. Just double checking. Yep, 523. Okay, so again, follow that link that I posted several times, and you can pick out a stitch that you want me to sew. You guys can be in control. You can tell me which one. This, again, is the link you have to follow to see the stitch options for single needle sewing for this machine. Single needle sewing. All right. So again, the one I'm going to do now is 523. So I need to set it up for that, right? So Control A right now is on 2. I need to change it to 5. There we go. Now I'm going to put it on Control B on 2. It's already on 2. That was easy enough. And then our last setting is Control C right here. And I've got to put that on 3. 3 again is going to be all the way to the bottom. And whenever you change any of these controls, make sure that you have your needle clear of the material. So I'm going to move that all the way down, and that's going to give me a far right needle position. So again, this control right here, Control C, if you're trying to use your 130-6 with the embroidery kit, all the way to the top is 1, which is the left needle position. In the middle is a center needle position, and all the way down in position 3, where we have it now, is going to give you a right needle position. Okay. All right, let's check this out. Let's see what stitch I picked out now. And I'm hoping some of you others will jump into this and share what stitch you want me to sew. That's the beauty of live streams, is you can be even more involved in giving me options that I can do on Alberto's machine. All right, take up arms all the way up. Let's do this next stitch. All right, everything looks good to go. Let's get this done. Here we go. And I'm sewing at a moderate speed right now. We could accelerate if we wanted to. I ended in a down position. And again, if you're just joining the live stream, I'm sewing with a Schmetz Universal 9014 needle today. It's a great versatile needle. And again, universal means that we have the ability to sew a wide field of materials without having to change the needle out. We can use this needle for leather. We can use it for cotton blend. We can use it. It's a little bit big and bulky for silks and satins, but I've done it. Universal by Schmetz is a wonderful, wonderful needle. It gives you a lot of flexibility. All right, let's check out this next pattern that I did. And again, I did this pattern by setting the machine to 523. So go to that video link as Emma has done, and pick out my next stitch for me, would you? Follow that link. You'll see it posted several times. And pick out that next stitch setting for me. I just need those 3 settings, and I'll sew that stitch for you. So this is the one I just did, all the way on the bottom. And you can see all the stitches we've done so far on this live stream. And again, this machine is all mechanical. It doesn't have a board, a control board in it like a newer machine. It has a very, very primitive cam stack style with springs and everything that cause the machine to be able to, generate just a huge variety of stitches. There's our lock stitch on the bottom, nothing different. We've got our stitch balance right now just spot on. So what's our next stitch going to be? It looks like we've got about 7 that are watching right now. Would one of you be kind enough to go to the link that I posted and then just type in the chat the 3 numbers so I can set the next stitch? And you'll see the link in the last entry right there. The youtube.com, blah, 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 watch TV, blah, blah, blah. I'll give you a little bit to do that. I'm going to get a drink of water while you're contemplating what stitch we should do next on Alberto's machine. I should say Alberto's sister's machine. He got one identical to this that I prepared for him. And then his sister saw it down in Texas. They're from the Dallas, Texas area. And she was like, Alberto, I want a machine like that too. So he said, okay, all right. So he reached back out and fortunately, and I say this to folks all the time, I'll have people contact me and say, what machines do you have? And I'll say, well, how many hours do you have to chat about this? Because I have over 200 machines. And I sometimes will forget what machines I have because I've had them so long and I don't look at them every day. And so when he initially said, do you by chance have another 130-6 with an embroidery kit? You don't find a lot of these machines, folks. You just don't. You find a lot of 130s. You find a lot of 130-6s maybe, but not a lot of 130-6s with the embroidery kit. And fortunately, I had 2 of them. So both of them are going to be, once this one is shipped and arrives down by Alberto and his sister, both of my 130-6s for my personal collection will then be official Texas residents. Yes, they will. Where they do things big down there. We know that. Yeah, I agree, Emma. The faceplate is gorgeous. And it doesn't have any of the scroll work that we're accustomed to seeing on the Singers and the Japanese clones and a lot of other models. It's just a plain, simple faceplate. But I tried to, obviously prepare it. It's part of the jewelry, like you say. So I tried to prepare it so that it presents real well. But hey, guys, I'm still waiting for my next stitch. What are we going to sew next? Look at all this material I have. I'm willing to fill up this entire material and sew the stitch that you want. You just have to go to that link. I'll post that link again. We'll do Emma's stitch, but then I want you guys to jump into this, please. I'm trying to do this with one hand. Boy, is this awkward. There we go. All right, there's the link again. You just click on that link, and it'll take you to a video that I posted about 5 years ago showing all, through still shots, all the different stitch settings for this machine. So you can pick out any stitch you want, and I'll do it just for you. It'll be like a personal request. But right now, I'm going to fulfill Emma's personal request of setting up for 631. Will be our next stitch. 631. So you can jump in. Emma has been dominant. Don't let Emma dominate this. I'm glad she's getting involved, but get involved as well. Go to that link, pick out your stitch, post the 3 numbers. That's all you need to do. Give me the 3 numbers so we can set the machine just like we're going to do right now for Emma. 631. So our control A is the first one, right? Right now we're on 5. We need to go to 6. Oops, I got to get a good grip on there. I'm going to go all the way around because I don't know if I clicked it properly. Better if you use 2 fingers, maybe. There we go. I did better that time. Then we need to go to 3. So we're going to move our control B to 3 now. Right now we're on 2. You push it back and then just swing it over and let that little pin pop into position, okay? And then finally we have to set our control C right here. Control C is our needle position. And again, when we get an option like Emma gave us of 1, we've got to move this all the way to the top. And when we move it all the way to the top, it's going to give us a left needle position. You can see that in the shot right now. Okay, so we've set everything properly. We set control A to 6, control B to 3, and control C to 1. So let's do this stitch now. And I don't have these stitches memorized, so I'm incredibly intrigued by you guys getting involved and picking out a stitch for me to sew, because I have no idea what it's going to look like until we actually sew it. It's kind of exciting. And if all the other people watching don't know what it looks like either, then it's kind of like, this is cool. It's like a mystery. So you got to join the mystery, y'all. Join the mystery, follow that link, and pick out your own stitch, and I will sew it for you on this live stream, okay? So let's do Emma's stitch now. Again, we've got the machine set on 6, 3, 1. Here we go. Oh, those controls are very, very active. Very active. There we go. I stopped in the up needle position. Yay. All right, let's check out this next one. Oh, Emma. Emma, this is a cool one. This is very cool. All the ones you picked are cool, but I'm guessing that someone else will look at those stitch options by following that link, and they're going to pick out an equally cool stitch as well. I hope they do that. Otherwise, maybe I should just stop doing live streams, huh? Come on, you guys. Have your cup of coffee and pick out a stitch, for goodness sakes. Very classy stitch, Emma. I'm loving this. This is really, oh my gosh, it looks like, you know what it looks like to me? And I'll show you guys. It looks like a cityscape. That's what I would call it. I would call it a cityscape stitch. Let me move my light over just a wee bit. Doesn't that look like a cityscape to you? It does to me. There we go. The camera decided to focus finally. I think that is so cool. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine the needle swing that this machine needs to do to accomplish that? It's off the hook. Let's look at the lock stitch. Nothing different. Absolutely spot on. And again, if we were using an embroidery style needle and we were using embroidery thread, we're not. We're using just a common cityscape would be right. Yeah, I agree, Emma. I think it totally looks like a cityscape to me. It just looks like, I mean, if you went to Chicago, if you went to LA or any of the other big cities, Milwaukee, it would just look like that. It's just spectacular. And again, this is an all mechanical machine, you guys, all mechanical. There's no computer board. There's nothing fancy dancy. It's just a basic mechanical engineered machine. And again, can you imagine if you were the owner of a 130-6 back in the day, you had it for years, and all you could ever do with it was a straight stitch or a zigzag. And then all of a sudden, shazam, they come out with this embroidery kit and you buy it. It was probably about $20 back then. And you put it on your machine, and then all of a sudden, all those stitches you can see at that link that I've posted several times during this live stream, all of a sudden, boom, your straight stitch and zigzag only machine can do stuff like this. It's just amazing. It's amazing. And I wish I had been a little mouse back then to be able to see that. Back in the days, kind of go back in a time machine and see when they debuted this embroidery kit. All right, I'm all set up for the next stitch, but I don't have any stitch options, you guys. No stitch options. I guess I'll have to pick my own stitch options. I don't think it's that difficult. I just go to the video, kind of like I'm going to do right now. It's going to go to the video, and I'm going to say, okay, what do I want to try here? What do I want to try? Let's see. Oh, that's a groovy one. Look at that one. Ooh, 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 I like it. I like it. This one right here. I'd have to set it to 622. I haven't done that one yet, have I? I don't think so. I hope I haven't. 622. See, it's as simple as that. You can just go and pick out your own stitch, give me those 3 numbers, and I'll sew it for you. 622. Emma, I'll do your 111 right after, okay? So 622. All right, so let's set that up. Control A is already on 6. We don't have to do a thing with that. Control B needs to be moved 1 over. Again, just push this back and then just slide it over. Let it go into that, the little pin go into the hole. And then I've got to set the next one on 2, which is going to take us to a center needle position, okay? So 1 is all the way up. Now we have to come down 1 down to a center needle position, which is where we're at now. It's that simple. It really is. I mean, initially when you see this machine, it looks like it's pretty doggone intimidating. Oh, was that on your list already, Emma? Okay. I thought it sounded familiar. Doggone it. Okay. Let's do your 111 then. Thank you for telling me that. I wouldn't have mind sewing it again, but you know, why do it, right? All right, let's do this now. We're going to do 111 for Emma, because otherwise I was going to duplicate our efforts. Okay, so let's take this over to 1. That's on 1. Move this over to 1. So Control A and B, 1, 1. And then finally, this one is going to go on 1 as well, which is going to take us to all the way to the top. And again, that's going to give us a left needle position when we do that. Kind of see that in the shot. A left needle position. All right, let's do this one. See, that's why it's so great to have help, isn't it? It's so great to have help so that I don't end up sewing the same thing again. Oh, okay. We didn't. No, we did do 622. We didn't. Emma, you're confusing me now. So it was on your list, but we didn't do it then. So I can still do it, right? Okay. Got it. Okay. So let's do this one. 111. This is Emma's next choice. Again, I hope some of the rest of you folks will also give some input on this. I'd love for you to pick your own stitch for this live premiere. Pick your own stitch for this live premiere. Okay, remind me, Emma, we'll do 622 then after we do this one, okay? We'll do 622 after this one. All right, let's do this one now. 111. Here we go. Oh, I ended in down position again. Doggone it. There we go. Real close. Yeah, this is similar to another one that we did, but it's a little bit different. It's still really cool. It's still very, very cool. Very, very cool. Emma has very good, very good choice. Very, very good choice. Very good taste. But I'm guessing all of you would pick out some equally amazing stitches if you could just do it, right? You can. All you need to do is go to that link. I'm going to post the link again. Hold on a second. I'm going to give you guys every opportunity to get involved. I want you guys to be involved. I think it'd be totally awesome. There's the link again. You just click on that link and you go to a video. You get me those 3 number settings, and I'll sew that stitch just for you. It'll be a personal request and I will honor it. But we're going to look at Emma's first, which is 111. This top one right here. Isn't that spectacular? See, they all have some similarity and characteristics, but the one on the very top is the one that Emma just picked, 111. Imagine that on a quilt. And again, I've got the stitch length way down right now, but you could even go shorter than I'm going. Or you could go longer. Remember, I've talked about it before. When you change the stitch length, you can give a totally different look to that stitch. Totally different look. So you have unlimited possibilities. Lock stitch, no difference. And again, that's a product of balancing the tension just spot on. What do you guys think? I think the 130-6 is one of the most phenomenal mechanical machines ever made, period. Ever made. And I love Swedish Beauties. You guys know that. As a matter of fact, I have a Swedish Beauty on the other workbench right now. I've been posting photo updates of that on Facebook. But the Swedish Beauties don't even have the capacity of what these PFAFF machines have when it comes to their built-in engineered stitch. You don't have to add a cam to this machine. That cam stack I showed you at the beginning of this live stream generates all of these stitches by manipulating the feed dogs and by manipulating the stitch width. I mean, it can generate all of these things. It's just like that. So anyway, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with this machine a lot. And I know Alberto is too, or he wouldn't have requested a second one of these for his sister, which I think is just way cool. So I'm all set up again. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do that stitch that we weren't sure if I had done it before. Emma said it was on my list. I wonder if any of you made a list by going to that video link and looking at the stitches that you think are super duper cool and whether or not you're going to come out of the shadows into the light and post those 3 numbers so I can sew that stitch just for you. I would love to do that. I would love to do that for you. But right now we're going to set the machine up to do the next stitch that I had picked, 622. All right? 622. So right now we're on 1. We're on 6 now. We got to move Control B to 2. Can just push that back. See, I'm pushing that back. And then it pops right into place. So 6. Come on, camera. I'll move my hand. It's probably trying to focus on my hand. It will eventually focus. It's got like an autofocus and it's goofy a little bit. So 6, 2, and then we have to set this one. Control C, we have to set that on 2 as well. So 2 is going to be a center needle position. Right now we're all the way at the top. We have to come down to a center needle position. Okay. And then if we went all the way to the bottom, we'd be in position 3. So we're in position 2, 1 up is position 1. All right, let's sew this next one. This is one I was going to do before, and we're going to do it now. All right, here we go. Again, if you want to duplicate this on your PFAFF 130-6 with an embroidery kit, we set Control A to 6, Control B to 2, and Control C, which again is this control right here, to position 2, right? Yeah, 632. Yep, position 2, center needle position. All right, here we go. Again, we could get a lot better definition if we set this up with embroidery thread, which I didn't, and we set it up with a little bit smaller needle. We're using a 9014 Schmetz Universal, and we could go all the way down to, say, a size 70, and that would give us a lot better definition. But we're still getting outstanding definition with this 130-6 that is soon to be heading to Texas. All right, so this top row is the one I just did. Oh, that is a really cool stitch. Show this to you. Very cool. Very, very nice stitching. All right, we're on to our next one. Does anyone have another stitch? Anyone want to pick a stitch? Otherwise, I'm going to pick one. I'm not going to pick one. And actually, I'll point the camera over that way right now. You see how that's lined up? Yeah, I think you can see that okay. So 622 is the last one that I did. That's interesting. Oh, thought of that. I could pull my phone out. That way when I'm going between screens, I can see the clarity of what you guys are seeing. That would make a lot more sense. Give me just a second, you guys. Hey, Paula, we'll respond shortly. I'm in a live stream right now. All right, give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, I don't like this one. I don't want to do this one. I would do it if you guys picked it, but let's see here. It's interesting. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. That's what I meant to do. I don't think we did this one yet, did we? 332. Did we do 332 already? 332. Yeah, I don't think we did. Emma, if can you fact check for me if we already did 332? If we did this one? Okay, Emma just no, we didn't. Okay, good. 332. Let's do 332 next. 332. All right, brilliant. So this will be our 332 is the next one we're going to do then. Okay, let's set it up for 332 then. Okay. Control A is on 6 right now. We need to go to 3. We need to set this one on 3. Control B. So 3, 3, and now we just set our Control C on 2, which I think we're already on 2, aren't we? I think we are. Yep, we were. Yeah, that's 3 all the way down. It's a little hard. It's a little bit tricky sometimes to find that spot, but okay, so that's in position 2 now. Again, the way this control works here, Control C, is all the way to the top is position 1. Right now we're in position 2, which gives us the center needle position. And then if we move it all the way to the bottom, we're in position 3. Okay. So we'll try sewing this one now, this next one. All right, here we go. All right, perfect. Ooh, I like this one a lot. Oh my gosh, I love it. It almost looks like little pumpkin balls. It almost looks like little pumpkin balls. Oh, hey, Paula. So again, if you're just joining the live stream right now, you'll see a link that I posted several times. If you go to that link, you'll be able to look at all of the stitch options for this model PFAFF 130-6. You can pick out any stitch you want. And since Emma has been kind of monitoring which ones we've done, she'll let you know. Just post the 3 numbers that we need to set up the machine. If we've already done it, we could always do it again, but otherwise she'll let you know. All right, check out this one. This is again 3332, I think, right? Is that what I just did? 332? I lose track. I'm pretty sure 332. Yes. Okay, perfect. This is the one we just did. I'm loving this one. It is so cool. It is so cool, and it feels like it's fall. Look at that one on top. That's the row we just did. 332. So if you have a PFAFF 130-6 with an embroidery kit, you can duplicate that same stitch on the top row. And look at all these other ones we've already done. We did all of these on the live stream today. Go to right about there. There we go. I finally got it centered. All right, let's check out the lock stitch. No difference. All of these are page 32, guys. Page 34. You can tell I'm distracted. Page 34. These are all page 34. But that last one I think is just totally cool. I could see sewing that in orange, couldn't you? Matter of fact, we wound a bobbin in orange. Maybe that's what Alberto's sister will try. Amazing. Amazing. Holy mackerel. Alberto, I love your machine. Your sister, it's wow. Wow. All right, I'm all set. I'm waiting for a number. I'm waiting for a number from somebody. Somebody. All you do is go to this, follow that link that I posted. I'll post the link again. Just follow this link right here, the one I just posted. You click on it, and this is what you're going to see. Okay, you're going to see, I'm just making sure my camera's lined up. Yeah, it is. You're going to see this, and then you can grab that little progress thing here and just drag it anywhere you want to drag it to look at the stitches. Oh, that's the end. I'm going to go all the way to the beginning. It took me a long time to do this video, but a lot of folks have found it helpful because they don't have that original stitch card and they didn't know that their machine could do all this stuff. How cool is that? That one was kind of cool back there, actually. I'm going to go back to that one. Emma, have we done this one yet? 432? That sounds familiar, but they all sound familiar to me right now. 432. It's almost like a starburst type thing. It's similar to this one over here. That one's a little bit, how is that different? A little bit wider, maybe? A little bit longer? Which one is that? That's 432. Oh, I see. It doesn't go all the way back that far. So I'd have to go all the way around to see what this setting is for this one. I'm not going to do that. .432. Let me go back to the other screen so I can see what 432. So we haven't done 432 yet. Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do 4-3-2 next, you guys. 4-3-2. It's going to look something like this. This one right here. I don't know what would you guys call this stitch? I'm calling it a starburst type pattern or something like. I don't know what you'd call it. You guys probably have a better name than I do. It almost looks like a sandbur, doesn't it? Have you ever gotten a sandbur in your pants or your shoes or your socks or something like that? They kind of look like that shape. Ugh. Ouch. All right, so let's do that. Let me type that in the chat. 4-3-2. 4-3-2. This is our next one. I'm hoping I'll get some great input from some other folks. You guys are brilliant. You guys are, yeah, a diamond necklace. I love it. That's actually a much better description, Emma. Much better description. Let's do 4-3-2 now. I'll show you how to set it up. 4-3-2. So you go to Control A first on the back. Again, if you're just joining us, this is an embroidery kit that was added to this original PFAFF 130 that would have come out in the 1920s. You just open this up. You can look at the mechanics of it and see how it's set up with the engineering. So this is one of the earliest style cam stacks that there was. Much, much earlier, and yet able to generate mechanically all of the stitches that we've done so far, and so many more. So many more. So let's set this puppy up to sew now, this next stitch. So we're going to do 4-3-2, right? 4-3-2. We got to take Control A and bump it up 1 to 4. Now we have to take Control B, and we're already on 3, so we don't have to do a thing with it. But if you have to change this, you just push it back, and then you can move it. And again, if you move this on 0, then it's going to shut the cam function off. It's going to shut the cam function off. So we don't want to do that. We're going to move it over to 3. 4-3-2. Okay, beautiful. 4-3. And now we got to set this on 2. This one here. This again is going to be Control C. So on this machine, unlike say a 3-3-2 that has 4 settings, this one only has 3 settings: A, B, and then C. So we've got to make sure that this is on 2. Right now we're all the way to the top, which is position 1, which is a left needle position, but we want a center needle position, which is position 2. So I'm just going to move it down a little bit, and now we're in position 2. If we move it all the way down, we're in position 3, and that gets us a far right needle position, which we might need depending on which stitches you guys pick out. Hint, 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 hint. This is all we've done so far on this live stream. What will your stitch look like when you give me those 3 numbers? Give me those 3 numbers, you guys. Come on. Give me those 3 numbers. I want to sew your stitch. I want to do a personal request just for you because you are that important to me. I want to do a stitch just for you. Okay? All right, let's do this next one. Again, I've set the machine up with 4-3-2. Oh, cool. Cool, Paula. Thank you. Very, very cool. I just signed up to be a patron on your channel. Glad you joined Patreon. Oh, really nice. Nice. See, I think it's a really cool concept, but I don't know anything about Patreon. So I'm really kind of learning. And really what I wanted to do is just use another footprint out there so folks can see what we're doing. They can see, and they can find out about live streams like this. And they can step out of the shadows and they can go, "Hey, Scott." And I'll go, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sew this stitch for me." And I'll go, "Yeah, cool. I'll do that. Let's rock it. Let's rock it right now, baby." Yeah. So again, if you want to give me your stitch selection, just go, hold on a second, y'all. Just go to this link right here. Go to that link right there that I just posted again. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a page that looks like this. And you can see that's the stitch that I just picked right there. 4-3-2. That's the one we're going to sew right now. Yeah. Yeah. Let's sew it right now. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. 432, 432, 432. Sounds like we're making a phone call, but we're not. We're not doing a phone call. We're doing a stitch. Here we go. 432. All right. Let me pause the music for a second. That's really a cool song. I'm kind of bummed that I shut it off. But now listen to this machine run and watch up in this region right here for these controls moving. Control A will probably be moving. Our stitch width will be manipulated by the cam function. It's just really fun to watch. It's really, I mean, I'm entertained easily, okay, but it's still fun to watch nonetheless. All right, here we go. Here goes our next stitch. 4, 3, 2 are our settings. Here we go. All right, I'm going to try it. I'm going to be a rebel. Try to hold the camera like this so you can watch the controls doing their thing. Do I have it lined up? Yes, I do. Okay, here we go. I feel like I'm in a circus. I almost went off course again. I almost went off course, but I didn't. Yay! 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 Okay, so 4, 3, 2. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Yeah, this is similar to the other one that I picked. I must have something about spherical shapes or something, but it's really cool nonetheless. See, that's where I make similar choices. If you pick your own stitch for us to sew, you're going to pick out something a lot cooler than I can pick out. That's for darn sure. You're going to pick out something a lot cooler. So that top row is the one we just did. And again, if we use embroidery thread and we used, say, a material with a stiffener in the middle, right now we don't have any stiffener in there, and we use a smaller needle, we're going to get, hold on, I'm going to move my light over. We're going to get a lot cooler stitch than we are even now. But even now we're getting a cool stitch. So that top row is the one we just did. 4, 3, 2 if you want to duplicate it on your PFAFF 130-6. But look at all the other stitches that we've done. And most of these were picked out by Emma. I'm hoping that y'all will step out of the shadows and give me some cool stitches to sew. You guys are brilliant. And I know you'll pick out some really nice stitches, some really cool ones. But we've done all of these on the live feed today. Lock stitch. All right, what stitch are we going to do next, you guys? Help me pick out a stitch. Somebody help me pick out a stitch. Help me pick out a stitch. Help me pick out a stitch. Let me pick out a stitch. All right, I'm waiting for a stitch, y'all. Even if only a small percentage of your 11,000 plus subscribers support you with $1 per month, it can help you keep making great content. I agree, Emma, or Paula, pardon me. I agree, Paula, completely. And I'm not looking, I mean, if people want to support what I do, it would be a blessing because I do have a lot of, a lot of expenses when it comes to doing some of the things I do. And it would just give us ability to do more. So more great content and more live streaming as well. I've had to make certain investments to do this live streaming, but I was also fortunate to get this camera from Emma. And then I just stepped up my my live stream speed. But it's cool. I appreciate it, Paula, very much. Thank you very much for doing that. So what stitch are we going to do next, you guys? Any stitch selections? Challenge Paula, Sunny, and anyone else. Pick out your favorite. Yeah, I agree. Again, it's real simple. I know you guys are action people. All of the people that follow this channel are action people. They're not talkers, they're walkers. And so all you have to do, again, I'm going to swing the camera around from the machine. It's so simple. All you have to do is follow this link right here. Where is it? I'll post it again. Oh, there it is right there. Just follow that link right there. Click on that link. It'll take you to this page. And then you'll be able to drag this with your mouse and look at all the stitch options that this 130-6 will do. Does stuff like that. Like that. And once you pick one that you like, all you do is give me these three numbers, type it in the chat. This one, for example, would be 512. That's what that is. That's like a Roman numeral 2 down there. 512. If you wanted to do something like this, it'd be 523. 521. You can see how helpful this is as a resource. I mean, if you have a machine and you don't have this, how would you know how to set up the machine without just kind of spitballing it? Here, you can pick out a specific stitch that you want to sew, and you just set those 3 points. Position A goes to 5, position B goes to 2, position C goes to 1, and you can generate this type of pattern. This is kind of an interesting one over here, isn't it? Almost looks like a solar system pattern. Let me see if I can drag it over to that one, see what that number is. So that solar system one that I'm talking about, it looks like little spaceships or something, is 5-3. Oh, shoot, I forgot to put stop. Pause. Doggone it. I have to go one back. I was trying to impress you with my technology, and I'm failing. So 532 would be a cool one to sew. It kind of looks like a little solar system spaceship thingy going on. 532. All right, let me go back to the chat because I'm totally missing what's happening on the chat right now. 532 is a possibility, unless we've already done it. 532. 532. Okay, that's cool, Paula. That's cool. Yeah, I know you and Emma and everybody else, they're going to look at things totally different than me. I just looked at 532 and I thought it was kind of interesting. So that's the one I'm going to sew next without having another number from one of you guys. So let's try 532 now, and I'll show you how to set it up again. Five, 3, 2. Here we go. So you go to Control A first of all. And we're going to set that to 5. This is already on 3, so we're good to go. Control B is already on 3. And now we go to Control C right here, and we've got to set that on 2, and we're already on 2, I think. Let me check. Yeah, we are. We were on 2. And 2 again is going to be your center needle position. If you go all the way to the top, you're in position 1 for Control C, which is a left needle position. If you move it all the way down to the bottom, then you're going to be in position 3, and it's going to give you a right needle position, okay? And if you're looking at this right now on camera and you're going, well, what does that thing do? That's for setting stop boundaries if you're using it as a buttonhole machine. If you're sewing a buttonhole, that's what that does. Okay, so let's check this out. There we go. That's pretty good, I think. Okay, so let's do 532 now. 532. I will pause the music and we'll listen to this wonderful German engineered machine do its magic. And again, realize that embroidery kit on the back is using mechanical manipulation to affect the feed dogs, the stitch width to generate the stitch that we're about to see, which is just mind blowing, but that's what it does. That's how the Germans roll. That's how the Germans roll. All right, here we go. And I hope I don't run out of bobbin thread. Probably getting pretty low, but I've got another one wound, so we're good. All right, I ended in the up position. Hey, yeah, this is kind of fun. It's a little bit similar to the pumpkin one, but not exactly. It's a little bit different look. And again, we could get a lot better definition if we used a stiffener between these two layers. And if we went to a smaller needle, we're using a size 9014 universal needle right now by Schmetz. This one right here. If we were to go to, say, a size 70 and use embroidery thread, similar to this yellow stuff, this trilobal stuff that you've seen before, I've used this before. If we were to take an embroidery needle and match it with this, we'd be able to increase the definition on this even more. But we're rebels, so we're just doing it our own way. Just doing it our own way. All right, so let me give this a clip. And we'll take a look at this last stitch that I just did, which again is 532 if you want to duplicate it on your 130-6 with an embroidery kit. If you don't have an embroidery kit on your 130-6, because there are lots of 130-6s that don't have this rear-mounted embroidery kit, then you're not going to be able to do any of these stitches. But if you can acquire an embroidery kit, then you'll be able to duplicate these stitches as well. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like this one. It's a little bit skinnier, a little bit different than the one we just did. That's this one on the top row that we just sewed. Lock stitch. Yeah, I like it. That's a nice pattern too. Very, very nice pattern. All right, what's our next one going to be? Do we have another number? We're almost running out of room here. We're getting really close. We're getting really, really close. 312. Emma's wanting to do 312, so that's the one we're going to do next. 312. Audio track is unavailable. Why is it unavailable? There we go. Now it's available again. That was kind of cool. So 312 we'll do first, and then Paula picked one out, 432. Emma, can you just fact check and see if we've done 432 yet? We can always do it again. I don't have a problem with that, but I'm just curious if we've already done it because I'm not writing these down. 432. But we'll do 312 first. All right, let's set this up for 312. 312. Right now we're on 5 with Control A, so we got to move it over to 3. So we're on 3 now. The next one we have to pick is 1, I think. Yep, 312. So again, to change the B control, all you do is push it back and then just pop it into the hole. So 3, 1, we're set there. And then our last one is 2. And we're already set on 2. 2 is going to be a center needle position. So I don't have to change this one at all. Okay, 3, 1, 2 is good to go. Okay, so we've already done 4, 3, 2, but if Paula wants us to sew it again, we can do that. Paula, do you want us, if you want us to do 4, 3, okay, 1, 2, 2. Have we done 1, 2, 2 yet, Emma? Can you double check? And I don't have a problem with doing these a second time. That's totally fine. We can certainly do that. But right now we're going to sew 3, 1, 2 that Emma picked out. 3, 1, 2. 3, 1, 2. All right, here we go. All right, take up arms at the highest position. And again, if we run out of bobbin thread, I've got another bobbin wound, so we're good to go. Can't see if that's advancing. I think I've got it too short. We're going to have a little thing at the beginning. I just extended my stitch length a little bit. I usually won't change the stitch length. I'll get it way down there. But on some of these stitch patterns, you might have to increase that stitch length just slightly. No, I did ring the bell, Emma. I rang it right at the beginning. But Paula and you and Bill and Sonny are all moderators for the channel, so you can give yourselves a pass if you arrive a little bit late. So anyway, what I was saying is some of these stitch patterns, most of them, you're going to be able to set your stitch length way, way down, just above the 0, and leave it there. But on this particular one that we're sewing right now that Emma just picked out, what was it? Is it the 3, 1, 2? Yeah, 3, 1, 2, I think. I had it too short, and so we weren't getting any material advance. So I just bumped it up a little bit to give us a little bit more stitch length, and then we started moving fine. So we're going to have a little bit of a thing at the beginning of this row because the material wasn't moving. All right, let's finish this off. What's that last one? Oh, let me double check. No, we're correct. I thought I had entered it wrong, but it is 3, 1, 2. That's what I have. So it's just a matter of, although that was kind of cool the way it was starting out. Maybe I jumped the gun. Maybe I could have left it on that shorter one, and it was just so short that it just didn't look like it was advancing, but it was. So this one is interesting. I wouldn't say that this would be one that I would use a lot because it's going to be similar to one of the other ones that we did, but it's cool nonetheless. It's still cool nonetheless. So this is the one. This is the one that we just did. You can see in the beginning here, I had the stitch length cranked way, way, way down, and it wasn't advancing. At least it didn't seem to me that it was advancing. So I kind of stopped there and I bumped it up just a hair, and then it started moving forward again. Such power may go to my head. Paul is like, I got a free pass. I can show up anytime I want. But you're a good leader too, Paula. You're a good leader. I know you'll set a good example. So this is the one that Emma just picked out. It's okay, and I'm sure there'd be an application for it, but I wouldn't say it's at the top of my list. The picture showed an oblong. What does that say? Oblong bead. Huh, I have no idea. You'll have to look at the video I have posted, Paula, to see what options there are. So there's our lock stitch on the back for that particular one. What's our next one going to be, you guys? What's our next one? We're almost out of room here. We probably have room for about another 3 stitches, I would guess. Probably another 3 stitches. And I have that facing the wrong way. Let's try that again. Okay, let me go back. What did Paula picked? Paula picked, did I miss it, you guys? The next one is 122. Is that the one that Paula picked, right? 122. 432 was done. So now we're going to do 122. I think that's correct. Let me know if I'm correct. 122, I think, is the next one we're going to do. Paula picked that one out. 122. So let's set it up for 122. What does no mean, Emma? Tell me what no means. Okay, yeah, Paul is confirming that 122 is our next one. So, okay, let's do 122 then. So we're going to set up Control A first. And you can see right now we're on 3, so we got to take it to 1. So we're set on 1 now with Control A. Control B now, and we're going to set that to 2. And then our last one is also going to be 2. And again, 2 means center needle position. So we're already on a center needle position. We don't have to change anything for this stitch that Paula picked out. If it were 1 2 1, then we'd have to go up 1. If it were 1 2 3, we'd have to go down. That's a curious thing. I wonder if there is a 1 2 3. If you guys want to check it out, I'm just curious because that would be kind of fun one to set. 1 2 3. I don't think we've done that one yet. But at any rate, I digress. So let's do 1 2 2 now for Paula. 1 2 2. Come on, you happy camera. It's just my eyes, or is it out of focus right now? Maybe it's just my eyes. Wait, I'm confused. Are you saying we just did 1 2 2? I don't think we did 1 2 2 because I had to make some changes on this. Can you guys check? Because yours, Emma, I thought was 1 2 1. I'd have to scroll up in the chat to see. 1 2 1. Four, 3 2. 3 1 2. We did 3 1 2. We did 4 3 2 before, and now we just did 1 2 2. 1 2 2. I don't think we did 1 2 2 yet. Emma, you need more coffee, girl. Emma needs more coffee. She says, we just did 1 2 2. And then she goes, no, try 1 2 2. I lost track. Oh gosh. See that? You guys are getting Saturday head or something. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can get it to focus this way. There, that's a little bit better, I think. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Pouring it now. All right, so I've got the machine. I'm so confused now. I've got the machine set up now with Control A at 1, Control B at 2. and Control C right here, also on 2. And this is the first time we're sewing it, as far as I know. Hold on a second. Let me put on some more music. Oh, that's funny. Well, you know what? It is Saturday. It is Saturday. Okay. Let's do this next stitch. And again, the stitch we're doing is 122 if you want to try to duplicate it on your PFAFF 130-6. 130-6. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, that's kind of a cool one. We've seen this a similar pattern to this on some of the other machines that we've done on this channel. This is a fun one. And again, just realize what you're seeing right now is being done with a 9014 Schmetz universal needle. Okay, 9014 Schmetz universal needle. We're not using embroidery thread. As soon as we finish off this material, we might do a couple of heavy duty sew offs, and then we're going to wrap this live stream up. Because we've been going, I didn't realize we've been going a little bit over 2 hours already. Yeah, that was a good choice. I like that one a lot, Paula. That's really cool. Would be a great border on a bowl cozy. Yeah, absolutely. So this is the one, the top row is the one we just did that Paula picked out. See if I can get us a little bit more light on the situation. Not sure if that light helps or hurts. Might actually mess us up, that light. We'll just go with the regular light that's on there. Yeah. Does that light help or does that mess it up? Nice one, Paula. Yeah, I do too, Emma. I think that's really a cool one. Lock stitch. Absolutely spot on. And these are all the stitches we've done on this live premiere today. And I'm sure some of you would have picked out entirely different ones, but you haven't stepped out of the shadows. We've had, I think at one point we had 13 people watching, or 14 people maybe. I don't remember. It'll show us at the end. But none of those folks wanted to step out and just type in three numbers. How hard is that? Seriously. I like that one that Emma picked out too. It's about center screen right now, that cityscape. That's a real fun one too. Okay, we only got room for probably about 2 or 3 more stitches. So y'all give me some more numbers if you would. Otherwise, I'm going to pick out a couple. And I would prefer that you pick out one for us. Emma's such a rebel. You Florida girls, I love you guys. You're like, hey, it's not on the stitch card, but let's do it anyway. I I don't want to break Alberto's sister's machine, you guys, but you know, we could give it a go, just see what happens. Should we do it? Yes. Paula's like, yeah, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, let's set it up. Most of it we have set up already, you guys. Let's have it set up. I can always fix it. If we break the machine, I'll fix it again. All right. Control A, we have set it on 1 already. Control B, we already have set on 2. Now the only change we're going to bring is to Control C. Control C has to go all the way down to the bottom to the far right needle position. And if we break a needle doing this, because it's not designed to do it, I'll just replace the needle. So you just push this in. See how you push that in? It's got a little spring in there. Push this in and then move it all the way to the bottom. So now we have a far right needle position for testing this stitch. We have no idea what's going to happen, but we're going to try it anyway. So right now our setting is Control A is 1, Control B is 2, Control C is 3, all the way at the bottom, all the way at the bottom. Let's give it a try, see what happens. I know you guys love that when I say it. Let's see what happens. Hey, and I'll show you real quick the other workbench. If I kind of lean back a little bit, you can see I've got that Swedish Beauty over there torn apart right now. I've got the top separated from the bottom, and I'm getting all kinds of stuff done on it to get it ready for that customer. You only live once. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on your worldview. Some people think we live more than once. So we'll see. All right, 1, 2, 3. You guys got me nervous here. 1, 2, 3. We have no idea. We are on uncharted waters right now, you guys. We're going outside the boundaries of the official PFAFF card. Yeah, I'm thinking you will have a possibility of 999 stitches with 3 settings, some of which may be a mess. Yeah, I agree, Paula. All right, let's give this a try, you guys. I trust you guys. I trust you guys completely. So we'll see what we get out of this. It should be fun. Should be fun. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Literally 1, 2, 3. Let me try that again. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was a good call, you guys. Oh my gosh, that was such a good call. Wait until you see this. Wait until you see this. Holy mackerel. See that? See that? You guys, you got to be rebels in life. You got to be rebels. This channel is about operating outside of the boundaries. Paula and Emma said, Scott, we think you're courageous. According to that stitch summary, there is no 1, 2, 3 setting. Guess what? We just made a new stitch. Wait until you see this. Oh, oh, I love this stitch. Oh my gosh. We got to make up our own stitches, you guys. It's different than the other one we did earlier. It's different than any of them. It's totally different. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I dropped the clips. I dropped the clips. I'm dropping clips. What the heck? Oh, this was such a good choice, you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Paula and Emma, for pushing me and saying, let's do it. We might break the machine, but you can fix it, Scott. It's cool. It's totally cool. Oh my gosh, what a great choice. What an amazing choice, you guys. We can look at it either way. This is the way, yeah, this is the way we sewed it. This one on top. Hold on a second. Let me get it lined up. That is such a spectacular pattern. And according to PFAFF, it doesn't exist. Look at that, the very top row. Yeah, let's call it the Rebel stitch. Or we can call it the Paula and Emma stitch. The Paula and Emma Rebel stitch. Isn't that spectacular? Look at all these stitches we generated during this live premiere today, you guys. And again, we could improve this so much if we added a stiffener to this material and if we went with a smaller gauge needle. We're using a size 90 14 right now. If we went with a size 70 and used embroidery thread and we duplicated Paula and Emma's Rebel stitch on the very top row there that we just sewed, again, that top row doesn't exist. It does not exist according to PFAFF. And the girls said, let's just do it. Let's just do it. And we would never have seen this if we didn't take that risk. Amazing guy. You guys are awesome. You guys are so awesome. We just made a Rebel stitch. Look at that. What are we going to do next, you guys? What are we going to try next? Oh, I wish you could feel this with your hand. I love the texture of embroidery type stitches on material. It's just, it's like a fetish. It's like a near fetish. All right, we probably have room for 2 more stitches. Somebody be courageous and give us some fun stitches to try. We have room for like 2 more stitches on this material. And if I move it over, we can definitely get 2 more. Hold on a second. All right, that's probably pretty good. We can do 1 more stitch row, 1 more stitch row, and then we're done with the embroidery function of the machine. Any other stitch suggestions? Somebody make up a number. Emma, you're making me nervous. Well, you can make up a number, but it can't be higher than 6. So make up a 3-digit number comprised of numbers between 1 and 6, and we'll try it. A 3-digit number with numbers comprised of numbers between 1 and 6, if that makes sense. I'm going to get a drink of water while you guys are doing that. What a great choice that was. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. What a great choice to go with that 1, 2, 3 sequence. What a great choice. Oh, nothing like a little swig of water. Do we have any numbers? Otherwise, I'm going to pick one. We could try, you know what we haven't tried yet? Yeah, I mean, but it's, you know what it's like, Paula? You're right. It is crazy. But you know what it's like is it's like someone trying to guess. You remember when you were back in school and you had a locker, and usually your locker combination would just be 3 numbers, right? Think about all the combinations there, all the possibilities. So yeah, I mean, when you've got a 3-digit number, there's all kinds of possibilities depending on what the range of those numbers is. Here our maximum range is 6 on our A setting, and then the other settings are limited to 3. So we've got on the A control, we've got up to 6 options. On the B control, we have 3 options, and on the C control, we have 3 options. Six, 3, 3. That actually was beginning of my number in my home as a child. That's kind of cool. 6, 3, 3. Okay, we can try that. Absolutely. So Emma wants us to try 6, 3, 3. Emma, is that an actual stitch on my video? Is that an actual, hold on a second. Is that an actual stitch? The 633, is that an actual stitch on this video here that I provided the link for? Or are you just making that up, 633? I don't know if that's an actual option on here or not. So Emma's coming up with another rebel stitch, you guys. She typed in the chat 633 combination. And she says, nope, it doesn't exist. PFAFF says it does not exist. So we're going to create it, right? We're going to create it. Let's do that. Let's do that right now. 633. All right, got it balanced now. All right, let's set it up. Control A, right? Control A. We're on 1 right now. We need to take it up to 6. 6, 3. Again, for Control B, just push it to the rear, and then you can move it back and forth like this. 6, 3, and then we have to move this to a right needle position, because position 3 is all the way to the bottom, and it's a right needle position. Is that where we're at right now? That's where we're at right now. We're already on a right needle position, so we're good. So we got it all set up right now. 6, 3 on Control B, and then Control C is also 3. So according to Emma, and I trust her, according to Emma, we are going to be sewing a stitch that does not exist. It does not exist on this video that I posted. How many years ago did I post it? From 2019. Oh, but that's not correct. I originally had this as a private video, and then I made it public. So I made it public about 3 years ago, but this was produced. I produced this probably like 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago, I would guess. All right, so let's sew this next rebel stitch. This next rebel stitch. And then we'll have room for just one more stitch. So if someone wants to pick out one more stitch that we can do after this, I think we'll have room for it. This is 633. And sometimes, you know, we can be rebels, but we can also be wise rebels, right? Wise rebels means, what can I do right now before I engage the foot controller to see if, because remember I talk about the Swedish beauties all the time, right? And how when the Swedish beauties, the green machines, when you put the cam in the rear of the Swedish beauty, it sets the swing boundaries of the needle. And without that cam in the back, it can hit the throat plate. So how can I test this rebel stitch that Emma just came up with, 633? Again, 633. How can I test it without engaging the foot controller and risking scarring the throat plate or breaking needle without hitting the foot controller first? What can I do? Go back to the basics. Going back to the basics, what can I do? Yeah, manually is right. I'm sure there is a mathematical, there probably is a mathematical way to calculate it in some way, but what we're trying to determine is, are we going to have an issue? So exactly right. We can just turn the balance wheel a couple of rotations. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Just hand turn it. So I'm going to hand turn it a couple of rotations, just see if we have any major issues. I don't think we will. Hope we won't. Doesn't feel like it's advancing though. It doesn't feel like it's moving this way. Let me lengthen the stitch a little bit and see if that helps it. Yeah, I don't think we're not moving, guys. Okay, we're moving now. Now we're getting traction. So I'm going to shorten up the stitch length again a little bit. I'm not going to go as low as I did before. I'm not going to go as low as I did before. And now, since we're clearing the throat plate fine, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit the foot controller. Maybe a tight stitch. Yeah, probably. Hand wheel auto corrected over and over. Let's try this, you guys. See what happens. Okay, we're golden. We're golden. So I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. It had to have been real tight. I think you're right. And this again is a uncharted territory. Uncharted territory, you guys. Now that's going to give us interesting. And Emma, you said that this doesn't exist, but you know what it mimics? You guys will see when I show it to you. What it mimics is it mimics that cityscape a little bit. And I should have had more faith in the beginning because I set the stitch length longer, but I should have left it super short. I couldn't tell because I was hand cranking it. I couldn't tell that the material was advancing, but apparently it was advancing so gradually that I thought we were stuck in the mud, but we weren't. This is another, and when we look at it, we'll want to look at this side of the stitch pattern where I shorten it up, but it looks like a cityscape again. It's like an alternative cityscape stitch that we just created at Emma's prompting. See that? Manuals are great. Stitch cards are great, but we can create our own stuff too. See that? Paula's a rebel too. Look at her. She's creating her own stitches on her 600E. The whole message of this channel is it's okay to color outside of the lines, right? And we've got certain boundaries, but then we can make stuff like this. Move the light in. That top row we just did. And again, kind of ignore this over here because I doubted that we were advancing the material. Apparently we were. So, and then we eventually got it set and we followed through on it and went all the way over to here. And again, this is Emma's creation. I think it's super cool. I'm not sure if that light is helping. I don't think that light is helping. The light is actually messing us up. You turn it this way too and look at it like this. Again, all the way over here, I kind of started adjusting the stitch length up because I thought we weren't getting any forward movement, but we were. And then we moved into a rhythm, and look at that rhythm across there. I think it's spectacular. It's a similar type, what lines? Oh, there are no lines, yeah. Well, you guys are from Florida, though. I mean, you guys set your own lines, which is cool. In Wisconsin, they give us some lines. But look at those stitches on the bottom there. This one again, this one right there, on the very bottom, is not on the chart for PFAFF. Emma created it. She just said, let's do it. And then right up here, the other one right above it, that was one that, Paula, right? Paula created the one just above it. That was not on the charts either. All these other ones were, let's color in the lines. And that's okay. It's okay to color in the lines sometimes. But look at what happens when you don't color in the lines. Those two bottom stitch rows are both examples of stitches that if you followed only what the book told you to do, you would never see these stitches. You just wouldn't. Lock stitch? Anything different? Nope. Absolutely amazing. All on this live stream today, you guys. All on this live stream today. We have room for one more stitch. One more stitch. Who's going to give me the number? I wish there were one of the folks out there that hasn't jumped out of the shadows yet. Someone that's in the shadows right now watching this live stream that can, again, all you have to do is go to that link that I just added to the chat right there. You can scroll through all of the stitches that there are. It's going to look something like this when you go to that link. Again, I got a lot of feedback is why I eventually did this. I had to take a picture of every one of these positions, and then I put it together in a like a slideshow video type thing. Added a little bit of music to it, and it's now become a resource for anyone. And you can just click play, and it goes through one by one. You'll see it change. Or you can be a rebel, like we tend to be, and you can just grab hold of it and say, no, I don't want to wait for that. You just grab hold of it like this and just drag it. See that? Pick any one you want. That'll be our last stitch for this live stream. It's an interesting one. That's kind of a Christmas tree one there too, isn't it? We do any of these, and I'm not saying we have to, because there's so many we didn't do, but we didn't do any of these much larger type stitch outputs. That one is 313. now I'm curious, what area code is 313? Does anyone know? 313. I wonder where that is. Maybe Alaska or something, huh? So yeah, I mean, we could try that, Paula. We could try duplicating one of the stitches that we did and just change the needle position. If it was in position 3, move it to position 2, or move it to position 1. The only thing I don't know, oh, that's Michigan, huh? Cool. 313 is Michigan. The only thing I don't know is, again, I would hand turn it just to see if that's going to push us outside of the swing boundaries of the throat plate. It's the only thing you run into if you experiment is you want to hand turn it like we did, just to make sure you're not going to hit the throat plate. Because you can replace the needle, right? But once you scar a throat plate, that thread can then start catching on it. So you then have to use sandpaper, probably around 1,000 grit, to take the burring off from the needle hitting it. So that's the only thing that I would want to guard against. Well, you guys give me a number. Give me a number if you would. And it can be off of this stitch card thing that I did. Again, you can drag this back and forth and pick out a stitch. And we can be a rebel and try changing the needle position. But there's a lot to pick from. Oh, I just killed it. Oh, that's the end. That's why. There's a lot to pick from. This is all done with the embroidery kit, you guys. All done with the embroidery kit. It's kind of mind-blowing. Three, 2, 3. We don't have to do that one, but we haven't done that one yet either. So 3, 2, 3. All right. Paula wants us to do 3, 1, 1. We can do that. 3, 1, 1. So we're going to set our A control on 3. We're going to set our B control on 1, and we're going to set our needle position at 1, which is far left. And Emma's our fact checker on stitches, and she says we haven't done that one yet anyway. So that's way cool. That's way cool. Thank you for that suggestion, Paula. And thank you for fact checking, Emma. 311. Let's do that next. 311. So we're going to change our control A to 3. We're going to change our control B to 1. Focus, camera, focus. Woo! There we go. 311. And then we're going to set our needle position to 1 as well, which is going to be at the very top. You can see how that shifts when you push this in. You push this in, and then this pivots like so. See the result down here. So for Paulus, we're going to move this all the way to the top in position 1. All right, that's it. This will be our last embroidery stitch using the embroidery kit on the rear of the machine. Okay, it's our last stitch. We'll leave our stitch length exactly where it's at. Yep, I couldn't resist. I moved it down just like a thousandth of an inch. Okay, take up arm all the way up. All right, here goes our final embroidery stitch on Alberto's Sisters PFAFF 130-6. Here we go. Let me pause the music so you can just listen. Just listen to this machine run. All right, here we go. I hope I didn't run out of. These bobbins hold a lot of thread. We still have thread left. It's crazy. Okay, our final stitch. And this looks like a really good one that could be used as an edge type marker or something like that. This was a really good choice too. It just goes to show you, I mean, there's so many different, as people scroll through and look at all those stitch options, everyone's eye is going to catch something different. I probably would never pick this one out, but now that I'm looking at it, it's like it's fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. Take a look at this. This is the one that Paula just picked out as our final stitch. That top row right there. Imagine the possibilities for that. I'm going to grab the top and kind of hold it. And the possibilities for that last stitch. And again, if you use embroidery thread, and you use a smaller gauge needle. Hey, Alberto. That's the owner right there, you guys. It looks like an eyebrow, doesn't it? It does look like an eyebrow. And, again, because we're using a larger needle, we'd be able to get that a lot tighter if we used like a size 70 instead of a size 90. A size 70 instead of a size 90, and if we used embroidery thread. But look at what we've generated using a size 90 needle today with just basic Coates and Clark type thread. All of this on this live stream today, once I get it lined up. Absolutely spectacular. And there's no difference. You have some machines that can do a decent top stitch and not get that balance, especially with as much needle swing as we were generating. But look at this. That lock stitch on the back for every single stitch we did is just absolutely page 34 spot on. Absolutely page 34 spot on. This is one of the most amazing machines, definitely one of the most amazing machines that PFAFF ever came out with. Again, it started as a basic zigzag machine. and they came up with this embroidery kit, just like the other one that I've already sent to Alberto. And all the possibilities opened up on what this machine was able to do, just with a simple little attachment to the rear. Again, very much like the Singer Auto Zigzagger attachment that they came out with to give straight stitch machines options that those straight stitch lock machines never had before. They come out with this embroidery kit. Someone puts it on the back of their machine. All they could do was a straight stitch and a zigzag, and all of a sudden, and this is only showing a fraction of the stitches that this machine can do. But this alone is like, are you kidding me? And then knowing that we could reduce the size of the needle to a size 70, and we could put on embroidery thread instead, and even give more clarity to these stitches. They're already gorgeous. They're drop dead gorgeous. All of them. But if we just made a couple little tweaks, and we could just take this off the hook as far as possibilities. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut off our embroidery kit. And the way you do that is simple. You take Control B and you move it from the 1 where we're at right now, move it over to 0. That's the on-off switch for this machine, for the embroidery kit. Now we've shut off the embroidery function. But like I've said before, if you were to put material underneath the presser foot right now, and you were to hit the foot controller, this is still going to move right up here. Control A. Control A will still move because we haven't shut it off down here yet. Remember, we have to pull this out. We have to rotate that pin into that slot. Now we've shut off the entire embroidery function. Putting this on 0, putting this back in its slot so it's not extended into that little slot underneath there. So I'm going to shut that off, because what we're going to do now to wrap up this premiere, this live stream, because guys, can you believe it? It's crazy. We get into our groove on these machines, and we're discovering things together, and we're rebels. We're trying stitches that, according to PFAFF, don't even exist. And that's part of the fun, right? But now I want to just set it up to do basic straight stitching and also do some zigzagging as well. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the side, and this will go down to Texas so that Alberto and his sister can look at it. Okay, the 3 math experts in my family can't. I don't know what that means, but let's do some basic straight stitching now. And you guys have to forgive me. I'm just sensitive to the fact that we've been running this a long time, and I have no idea where a bobbin thread is right now, but I've got this other bobbin wound already. I wanted to be prepared. I showed you how to use the bobbin winder with that orange thread, but we've got this one. If we run out of bobbin thread, I'm just going to pop this in and we're going to finish this off. We're not going to be deterred. So I've got some veg tan type leather now. Actually, I got 2 different types, I think. Let's see. I've got, this is protected full grain leather. Okay. We're going to do some straight and some zigzag stitching. And who knows, maybe we'll go back and do one more decorative stitch. I don't know. But you guys have a preference? The 3 math experts in my family can't give me the possible numbers of stitch patterns available using the numbers 1 through 6. Remember, you can't use 0. Yeah, you can't use 0. True. If you use 0, you'll shut off the cam function of this, the embroidery kit. Total of 54 combinations. All right, you guys, take a break on the math. It's Saturday. No math on Saturday. All right. Alberto is or was present. That was up here where you saw Alberto pop on. He, again, is the owner. He's got one of these already that I prepared for him. This one is heading down for his sister. Does anyone have a preference? Should we try some stitching on protective full grain leather or the veg tan that I have here cut as well? I've got veg tan. I've got protected full grain leather. Any votes on which one we should stitch on to do some basic straight stitching, some basic zigzagging, and maybe one last decorative stitch. Oh man, I wanted an answer from somebody. Leather can be, what is this? Leather can be seem better. Can be, you meant seen better, right? Yeah, she meant seen better. Okay, so let's do this. Since I'm not getting any clear votes right now, I'm going to put the protected full grain underneath the needle, and we'll lay down a straight, a zigzag. I've already done some on this side. Matter of fact, I'll cut that off so we don't get confused on what we did. So these I already did off camera. I think you can see that, sort of see it. These I did off camera already, so I'm going to throw those to the rear. The blue leather, yeah, the blue leather is protected full grain. So I'm going to do that. We'll do a straight, and I'll show you how to set this up for straight stitching. Because the last time that other 130-6 got down to Texas, I remember this is many, many, many months ago. Alberto had reached out and said, how do I set this thing up for straight stitching? So let me show you that right now. It's actually real simple. Okay. So as we're looking at the machine, we know that we've shut off the embroidery kit because we put Control B on 0. We also took this pin and we put it back into the notch. See that? So now we're ready for basic sewing. Basic as basic goes. You set your stitch width on 0. Set your stitch width down on 0. And when you set it on 0, you're going to get a straight stitch. Okay, so we've got that down on 0. Hold on a second. I need some music to play while I'm doing this last bit here. All right. So again, to do a basic straight stitch, shut off function B, put it on 0. You don't have to do a thing with function A, just leave that alone. And then make sure that this pin is set back in that center position there in that little notch. Okay? Needle position is not critical, but normally for most straight stitching in that, I would set this in position 2, which is in the middle. So I'm just going to verify. Right now we're in position 1, so I'm going to bring it down. Now I'm in position 2, which means we should get a center needle position. And then I have to decide, okay, what stitch length do I want? I like big. So I'm going to go all the way to the top to 5. So at this point, we are ready to rock and roll as far as the straight stitch. We shut off Control B. We put that pin back in the notch so that it isn't making contact with that plate behind. We set our stitch length. That's it. So let me set this up here. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're going to lay down a straight stitch, and then we'll just adjust the stitch width, and we'll lay down a zigzag after that. And then we may mess around with some sort of a decorative stitch. All right, here we go. Take up arm at the highest position. Take up arm again as this. Make sure it's as high as it can be, and that it's beginning to go on that downstroke. And that way you don't get any binding, and it launches smoothly and beautifully, okay? Oh, I see what happened. I had that over just a hair. I must have bumped this. And I had it over just a hair so that it thought I was saying, don't give me an actual straight stitch. Give me something like a straight stitch, but just a little flavor of zigzag. When that happens, then it's easy to happen. Let me show you what we got, but we'll do it again and we'll get what we want. And that's my fault. I should have checked that more carefully. See, it looks like the stitching, let me get that lined up, maybe like this. Camera is having a little trouble focusing here. There we go. That's starting to focus now, I think. So see how it ended up trying to, it didn't know, do you want a straight stitch or do you want a zigzag? Because I had it just a hair over, just a hair over. So let's do it again now with it on an actual straight stitch all the way over instead of kind of off canter a little bit. All right, here we go. Ah, there we go. There we go. Oh, is that gorgeous? Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness gravy. You'll be able to see the contrast of the two straight away. Straight away. Now the one on the left right here is the one that we just did it again because I had inadvertently allowed this to come a little bit to the left as if we were going to do a zigzag. The one on the right is the one that I goofed up on because we didn't have it lined up straight. Look at those. What a contrast, huh? What an absolute contrast. I can't get too close or this camera goes a little goofy, but let me let it recalibrate. There we go. So that's a beautiful straight stitch. We can turn it like this as well. The straight stitch is on top, obviously the correct one. The real straight stitch. And the wonky straight stitch that I had because the stitch width controller was just a little bit over, gave us that other one. But that's a solid page 34 straight stitch. Beautiful. And that's at the largest setting. We could go much smaller than that. Beautiful, huh? Lock stitch, no difference. Hard to kind of see with that nap a little bit, but you can kind of make it out when I pull it back. Absolutely spot on. All right, so let's lay down an actual zigzag now, which is what we planned to do in the first place. So to do an actual zigzag, we're not going to change anything other than move this to whatever position we desire. Let's just say we want to go for like a 3 as far as stitch width. And we want to adjust our stitch length down proportionally. So we're going to move this down to about 3. So 3 here, 3 there. And now let's lay down a zigzag. Okay. Take up arm at the highest position. And now we're going to lay down a zigzag. Again, our settings are, we've got 3 on stitch width, approximately 3. Just double checking. Approximately 3 on stitch length. So we should get a pretty balanced zigzag stitch. Let's see what we get. And again, just a general rule, when you incorporate needle swing, wider needle swing, in other words, when you're going for a wider zigzag, say in the range of 3 or 4, you can stitch it off, but you might have to slightly bump up your upper tension, because when you incorporate needle swing and that hook is coming around as well, it sometimes can loosen up that lock stitch on the bottom a little bit. So just take that into account, that when we stitch this off, if we get a rock solid lock stitch, outstanding. If it's a little bit loose, we can fix that very easily by bumping up our upper tension slightly. Or instead of bumping up the upper tension, what we could do is we could use this fine adjuster again. Remember, this fine adjuster that PFAFF incorporated into the upper tension allows you to adjust for the type of material that you're using. If you're sewing incredibly lightweight stuff, which obviously we aren't right now with leather, but if you were sewing incredibly light stuff, you can just move this up to the highest position. As we get into normal sewing, we're going to have it right around in here, right around in there. But if we move to super heavy duty stuff like leather, upholstery material, multiple layers, whatever, we can then move it all the way down to the 6 o'clock position and adjust for that material change, the different fabrics we're working with. So I don't think we quite need to go to this extent for this single layer protected full grain leather, but we probably could try it like right about there, a little bit further down than normal sewing, but not all the way down to the 6 o'clock position. So we're probably at about the 5 or the 4 o'clock position right now. So we'll give this a try. All right, take apart is ready. All right, let's go down and do this zigzag. Here we go. I can't believe we haven't run out of bobbin thread yet. It's just crazy. It's crazy that we haven't run out of bobbin thread yet. Because embroidery stitching eats up a lot of thread real quick. It just does. So again, this zigzag that we just did, we got this by setting our stitch width on 3, setting our stitch length on 3. And take a look at this. This is absolutely what we want to be seeing. Absolutely spot on. Kind of seeing the totality of stitching here. Again, the stitch on the far left, that first row, I had incidentally allowed that stitch width to creep over just about 1/1000th of an inch. And this machine is so precision based, with just having it about 1/1000th of an inch to the left of 0, it gave us what I would consider a tweaked zigzag. And then we righted it by making sure it was all the way on 0. And we got an absolutely page 34 picturesque straight stitch. And then we just did this zigzag, which is also just absolutely spot on. Lock stitch. And I'm seeing a real solid lock stitch on that zigzag. So either our fine adjuster adjustment that we made or our tension in general is just absolutely spot on. So we got a really solid zigzag as well. I think that light is messing us up. Let me take that light away. We'll kind of have the light offset. I think it's kind of screwing up the camera a little bit. And again, it's a single layer, right? But that's a single layer protected full grain leather. Beautiful, beautiful stitching. So what I'm going to do is our last stitch, and we could do so much more because this machine just has no limits, is I'm going to cut a chunk of this vegetable tan leather because we haven't sewn this. I'm going to cut a little strip of this vegetable tan, and then if someone would be kind enough to give me a stitch setting for the embroidery kit, we're going to go back to the embroidery kit for this last stitch. I'll show you how to set it up again to use the embroidery kit, and then I will calibrate it back to straight stitching only before we wrap this premiere up, so that when it heads down to Texas, it's set up for straight stitching and they can review this live stream It'll be available after we're done. They can review this and then set it however they want to set it. So give me a 3-digit number. I know you guys have been having a lot of fun kind of going back and forth as far as, well, how many possibilities are there? I mean, there's a ton. There's a ton of possibilities. And the one thing you ladies with your brilliant minds have not calculated into the equation is we're dealing with a control A that goes up to 6, right? A control B that goes up to 3, a control C that goes up to 3. But then we have a huge number of added possibilities when we adjust the stitch length on what that stitch output looks like. So that makes it even more complicated on what are the stitch possibilities for this machine that's heading down to Alberto. I mean, it's crazy. We not only have the options of 6 here, 3 there, 3 there, but we also have all the variations within that stitch length range on top of it. So 216 stitch possibilities. That's crazy. Even if we went with Paula's number of 216 stitch possibilities, that's off the hook. That marvels any of the contemporary machines that I can think of that brag about their stitch possibilities with their fancy computer boards and their plastic gears that are going to break after about 6 months. So let's just say that we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of possibilities with Alberto's PFAFF 130-6. So what I need from you guys right now, please give me a 3-digit number you want me to try to sew on this last stitch off using this vegged hand. I'm going to get it underneath the presser foot and get ready to do this. Wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be so funny if we ran out of bobbin thread on this last sew off? It might happen. If it does, I've got a bobbin wound already, so I don't care. All right, somebody give me a 3-digit number, please. Somebody give me a 3-digit number so we can do this final sew off on Alberto's machine. I'm just going to slide it off to the side and see if I can, how close I can get this camera without it going crazy on me. Would I be able to get it that close? That's a cool view, isn't it? That's a fun view. I still can't get as close as when I'm using my other camera, though. This is a fabulous camera that Emma sent me, and I'm very grateful for it. But I'm going to go back and forth between live streams and using my other camera, too. Somebody give me a 3-digit number, please. Give me a 3-digit number. Again, all you have to do, if you're just joining this live stream, all you have to do is go to this link. I just posted the link again. Go to this link that I'm putting my mouse over right now, and you're going to see something like this. You're going to see something like that, and then you can scroll back and forth and pick out any stitch, even if we've already done it, because now we're using a different type of leather. You can scroll back and forth and pick any of these stitches off this online stitch card that you want, and I'll stitch it for you. I'll sew it for you. And I just need these 3 numbers. Like if you wanted me to do this one, it's 511. Okay. You wanted me to do this one, it's 512. You want me to do that one, which I think we've done it already, but that's fine. It would be 532. See how that works? That one would be 623. You can see that, I think, in the shot. 623. So let me go back to the other screen because you may have already posted something. I have no idea. Okay. Paul is the only one that stepped forward and said, Scott, let's redo 113. So we're going to do 113. Okay. 113 it is. And I'm going to see if I can slide this machine over just enough that I can set the camera up right next to the machine. That'll be a different view. That'll be a different view than what you've gotten during this live stream. We're going to go right to there, straight down. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'll come back to this shot because this is a real cool shot. I'll come back to this shot, but let's set the machine up first to actually do this. Because right now we're set for straight stitching and zigzag, and we're doing stuff like this, right? We want to do stuff like this, I should say. So the first thing we have to do, we can do it like this. The first thing we want to do is turn on our cam function, which is this control right here. You pull it out, you rotate it so that that pin goes in and will make contact with that groove underneath there. And to get it to pop into the groove, I'm just going to lightly turn the stitch width. Boom. It's locked in now. See? So now we're locked in, but now we have to turn Control B on over here. And Paula's number is 113. So this has to go on 1. Right now it's on 0, which means it's off. So we push it back, we move it over to 1. Control A right now is on 3, and we have to move it over to 1. So I'm going to slide it. We're on 4, 5, 6, 1. So we've got both of these set now, 1, 1, and now our last control, C, needs to go to 3. So right now, where are we? Right now we were in position 2. Now I've just moved it all the way to the top to position 1, but we need position 3, which is a right needle position. A right needle position. So I need to move it all the way to the bottom, push it back, and then rotate it down like so. So now we've got it set up exactly as Paula gave it to us. We've got this set on 1, Control A, Control B is set on 1, Control C is set on 3, 113. All right, so let me get this camera set up right next to where we're going to be sewing. And we'll do our final sew off for this live premiere. And I am so grateful to all of you. This has gone much longer than I anticipated going, but that's all fine and good. We covered a lot of good stuff. We had a lot of fun, and we colored outside of the lines with Paula and Emma creating some stitches that PFAFF say do not exist. Well, we don't care what they say exists because we did it anyway. And we created some incredible stitches that otherwise would not have been created, right? So we're going to do this final stitch now that if you want to duplicate it on your PFAFF 130-6, it is Control A1, Control B1, Control C 3. All right, all of that blah, blah, blah. Let's do this. Take up arm at the highest position. And again, we're sewing a single layer of vegetable tan leather. That's probably about 3 ounces thick. All right, y'all ready? Here we go. I'm just double checking again that I didn't miss anything. Oh, you know what I did miss? I would have totally blown this. Let me show you what I forgot to do. We didn't change our stitch length. We were all the way up on 3, which is where we were at for that zigzag. We need to be all the way down there, just above 0. We would have gotten an output, but it wouldn't have been real cool. There we go. Right about there. See, it never hurts. It's the carpenter's rule, right? The carpenter's rule. Measure twice, cut once, right? Measure once. No, not measure once. Measure twice, cut once. Trying to get us nice and centered here. Okay, here we go. Final stitch off. And this is one that Paula picked, okay? Six adjustments on all stitches. Yeah, you can't use, yeah. So, but at any rate, it's a lot of stitches, you guys. It's a lot of stitches. And incorporate the variation you can get with the stitch length changes. We just demonstrated that by me having it set much longer than I'd wanted to do. And we adjusted it all the way down to just above 0. So you have to also factor in all of the variations of those stitch patterns when you change that stitch length. And there's a range within the stitch length that goes from 5 all the way down to almost 0, but you've got all of those intermittent stop points as well. So it's a huge number of options. All right, here we go. Final stitch, final pattern. 1, 1, 3. Here we go. That is just, Paula, I know why you like that. I know exactly why you like that. That is such a gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. Can you see that at all in the shot? I think you can. See what we just sewed? You can actually see it right there. And again, that's using veg tan leather, a size 90-14 needle, and generic type thread by Coates & Clark. I'm not trying to steal anything away from Coates & Clark, but it's not embroidery thread. Imagine if we had done the same thing with a size 70 needle or a size 80 needle and used embroidery thread. And even this, I mean, this is brag worthy. This is brag worthy. Let's take a look at this. Kind of see it already. Static, static. Dramatic music on the final stitch. I love it. And look at the evenness of that as well. It's just absolutely, absolutely spectacular. I'm not sure how you would use a stitch like this, but there's unlimited possibilities. Let's look at that lock stitch. Well, that actually washes it out. I'm going to take that light away. The light kind of washes it out. Great choice, Paula, as a final stitch for us to do. A definite page 34. I'm going to throw that to the back as well. And now we're going to return this 130-6 to regular sewing. Okay. Once I get the camera centered here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to shut off the cam function. I pull this out and I rotate this right into the middle. Just like that. Take Control B, take it from 1, put it on 0. That's it. Then we just have to decide what stitch length do we want. I'm going to go for max. all the way up to 5. And do we want to do a zigzag, which is all the way over here on 0, or do we want to go with go with a straight stitch all the way on 0, or do we want to gradually move it over and get a wider and wider and wider and wider and wider zigzag all the way up to 4? I'll set it on straight stitch. There you go. So to answer the question that Alberto had brought to me the last time, this is how you set it up for straight stitching. And if you want to go to zigzag, all you have to do is change this and then decide what length you want. And again, if you're going between a wide field of type materials, you're going through a wide materials, you can always tweak this as well. All the way down is going to be super heavy duty. Standard sewing, silks and satins all the way up. All right. Well, with that, 3 hours and 19 minutes, y'all. Did we have a party or what on Saturday? We had a party. Or as Alberto said, y'all are having a lot of fun. I love it when an owner pops on. When an owner pops on and he says, you guys are having fun. You guys are just having fun. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Is that out of focus or is that just me? This camera's kind of decides when it wants to focus sometimes a little bit there. Yeah, it's a fabulous PFAFF, Paula. That is out of focus, you guys, isn't it? This camera has autofocus, but it's not autoing. Or maybe my eyes are not in focus. I think it's out of focus. All right, I'm going to bring it back over here because then it is focusing correctly. All right, I'm going to end the live stream. Y'all have a good weekend. Thanks again, Alberto, for the opportunity to present the second PFAFF 130-6. And I'll be getting this shipped off this coming week down to Dallas, Texas. All right, take care, everybody. God bless.